Felix here, and welcome to this pre-market live stream. Cash and cats is what we're going to be talking about here in the next few minutes. I want to break down what the inflation data that just came out means for you, because it's tremendously important. And I also want to bust the 4 myths that are making the round of mainstream media right now regarding the stock market, so you can be the best informed investor out there. And some bonus breakout stocks. Who wants bonus breakout stocks? Put a smiley in the live chat. And if there are enough smileys, I'll give you a couple of bonus breakout stocks. And of course, Tallulah is the one who sniffed these out. Have you seen her little costume? There's also a little winter costume. Look at that. Isn't that cute? She's feeling wonderful again, by the way, which is fantastic news here. So let me share my screen with you here, and this is precisely what we're going to run through in the next few minutes. If I can find a pen, what the inflation data means for you. That's number 1. That's the crucial thing here. And then 2, bust the 4 biggest myths of the stock market. And I'm seeing a lot of smileys. Terry, that's a lot of smileys. Terry either really wants bonus stocks or just wants to see more kittens. Love that, guys. So many, I can actually not read them out quickly enough. So brilliant. Let's get straight into it then, shall we? Okay, if I'm allowed to see it here. Okay, so we just got this data out, and you know, economic data is insanely confusing because it doesn't really mean anything to anybody, right? If I say to you, inflation rate came in at 3.3%, is that low? Is that high? Why does it matter? Well, let me explain. Okay, so the important thing always was to look for is what's the expectation. The expectation was 3.3%, and I'm loving all the hearts there. Where is Winston? He's snoozing next door. We just had a bit of a wrestle, actually. We went outside. When you're making me digress. We went to the lovely park. We played a little bit, and then a boar walks in, a very large boar, like larger than Winston. So I said, okay, Winston, let's go to the top end of the park. And just as we turned the corner at the top end of the park, a very large porcupine appears. So we had to vacate the premises and hand them over to the wildlife, which I guess is fair enough. But anyway, back to core inflation. It came in at exactly the level expected. That is good news. That deserves a smiley. Why? The market hates surprises. And with inflation at exactly the levels that we're expecting, what is going to happen next week? What happens next week? The Fed meets and the Fed decides what? Interest rates. So we are expecting, Tallulah and I, a rate cut next week. And that, of course, is fantastic news, especially for tech stocks, especially for fintech stocks like your SoFis and your PayPals and anybody who's in the kind of more risky side of life, your innovation stocks. Think the ARK portfolio, that sort of stuff should do very well. Why? Well, lower interest rates mean what? Simply higher valuations for stocks. And especially for the riskier they are, the bigger the impact tends to be. So that is very, very good news. That's it. 500 likes. Fox Gaming, my friend, you're back. I love you for that, and I appreciate the emails you sent me yesterday. Super, super kind of you. Fox is our new. Well, he whips you into hitting the like button better than I do. So I appreciate that because it really helps. You know, my whole thing is that we want to reach more people. I want to teach more people. I want to make sure you understand what's going on out there so you can make the most money from your money and actually get to real financial freedom. So this here is crucial. Everyone keeps saying the rally can't last. It's too big. Everything has gone up too much, right? I'm liking the little tiger emojis as well, Richard. That's very, very funny. Yes, Fox Gaming is now the new official ambassador. So if you think it's unusual to have years like the ones we're just having, where we're going up 20 to 30%, right, this year. Well, do you know how often that happens? These are the returns of the S&P, make it a bit bigger for you, since 1928. So like 100 years worth of data. On average, we've gone up 9.8%, 9.8%. But the second most likely outcome, the outcome that happens the second most often is what? It's a 20 to 30% increase in the market. This is actually very, very, very common. This is not an abnormal year. This is actually a very normal year. So this is not some freakish incident that's never been repeated. No, we had it last year. We had it in 21. We had it in 2017 and 2009 and 2003 and 1999. And I'm not going to read out all the years, but you get the idea, right? It happens a lot. And in fact, we have better years, 30 to 40% gains, also quite a lot, right? Look at that column here. So people who say to you, oh, the market only ever does 8% on average. Bollocks, I say. I now have a boy cat, which is what I'm thinking about. He has balls. We're going to have to do something about that. Poor thing. I feel very sorry for him, but that's going to have to happen. Now, this is the second thing. Tech stocks valuations are too high. Palantir can't go any higher, right? Have you looked at the pre-market? I'll show you. Bloomberg Intelligence, which are two sentences I don't often put together. Bloomberg Intelligence, it's sort of like, really? Okay, they're not referring to the Mr. Bloomberg, who's become Mr. sort of Misery Doomberg. I hate everything Elon Musk related. Very odd chap. Seems very unhappy with his billions. I think I'd be quite happy with my billions when I get them. So what is going to happen? The NASDAQ 100, so the 100 largest tech stocks, get reassessed on December 13th, which is, well, like not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. And they every quarter they look at, well, who are now the largest ones? Well, guess who's now one of the largest ones? Palantir. We expect Palantir to be added to the NASDAQ 100. We expect MicroStrategy to be added, Equinix and Axon. And we expect SMCI, ARM, Moderna, and Illumina to fall out of it. And what does that mean? Do you know a little ETF called QQQ? You heard of the thing? Biggest tech ETF in the world, and then all the other tech ETFs that track the NASDAQ. They're going to have to buy Palantir, whether they like it or not. They're going to have to buy the bloody thing, and that's going to pour dollars into those stocks and will therefore make it harder for those stocks to dip, right? Is that not a German accent? It is. It is. I am 100% Germanic to my... I can't do anything about it, to be honest. It's one of those things. You get born with it, stuck with it for life. But so that's our myth number 2. Myth number 3 and 4 are super important. But what I want to also get to is what you also see is that there are winners and there are losers, right? And yes, the stock market goes up 9.8% on average. But in my humble opinion, you could potentially do a heck of a lot better. Well, in my opinion, you could definitely do a lot better. But you have to do some studying and some risk management, and you have to understand how to pick the winners. How do you pick the winners? How do you pick a winner like Palantir or the breakouts we're about to look at as the bonus material here in a moment? You still want the bonuses? You still want the bonuses? Put a cat emoji in here. I'm seeing some nice ones, and we'll get to some. We'll run through some breakouts stocks. So if you actually want to learn how to spot those breakout stocks and not be reliant on, feline chief financial analysts like here. I mean, not everybody's got one of these, who wakes up in the mornings and says, Felix, you should go and buy some SoFi today. That sort of thing. She's very smart. She's been listening to me and watching me trade for more than a decade. So how do you then do that? Well, you watch the masterclass down below. And honestly, if you want to leave the stream right now, and just sit down and take the next 30 minutes. Loving all the cat emojis, guys. Appreciate it. Richard says, hit the like button. Even better. If you want to leave the stream right now and spend 30 minutes to actually elevate your skills. Because if you want 2025 to be better or even better than 2024, the only way you're going to achieve that is by elevating your skills, by being better at spotting the winners before they happen. Because that's what I do. And we're up 200% this year, something like that. And how do we do that? Go to felixfriends.org/get free. The link's also down below in the description, and you just click on it. It's and you watch it and you take notes, and then you start looking at charts in a different way and you implement it. And of course you add some risk management on top, and your life will never be the same again. I promise you that. Seriously, you will never look at a stock chart quite the same way again. You will see, it's like if you watch this, and for those of you guys who've watched this, it's to me like when I was first explained this, and I did a stint in banking, so that's why I learned it. It's like seeing the Matrix and going, oh my freaking God, how did I not know this? How did I not see this? So watch it, my friends, and it'll change your life. Now, myth number 3, drei, as they say in my very charming native tongue. It's a lovely language, isn't it? German. It sounds like, I mean, it's very good for if you want to sort of be a villain, right? And you're about to kill somebody. But everyone's saying the market's too hot, right? Bitcoin's at 100,000, tech stocks are through the moon. What does this mean? It must mean the crash is imminent. The crash videos are coming out on YouTube, you know, every other second. Why? Because it's very, very, very easy to make crash videos, and it's quite a profitable endeavor. But the Fear and Greed Index, and who makes this? Anybody know who makes this? CNN. It's the only useful thing that CNN provides, the Fear and Greed Index. And Michael, you're super kind. New cat names, neuter and spay. George, I know it's harsh, isn't it? They're so sweet and little. I've got 2 new kittens since Sunday, so yeah, we're gonna have to do that. I've never had a boy cat before. He's very sweet. He's very affectionate and quite confident. He sort of protects his little sister. But anyway, what does Fear and Greed say to you? It's sitting at what? Neutral, right? What does that mean? Well, generally speaking, I would say if you're contrarian, you know, you buy here for the long haul and you take profits over here. But that, and of course, reality is something everyone talks about, but nobody actually has ever done, because psychologically, that's almost an impossibility, because it's horrible to buy when the market's down, and it's horrible to sell when the market's up, because you feel like you're going to miss out, and actually you are going to miss out. So what do? Well, no matter where we are in the cycle, we look for breakouts and we buy them regardless of the market. It does help being in an upward trend for sure. That's an important part of it. But we're at neutral, folks. We're actually at the lower end of neutral, which means what? The opportunity to go higher is enormous. So we could go a lot higher. AA says boys are more cuddly. Really? Okay. All right. Yeah, he seems very cuddly. The other one's a little bit shy. All right. And then here is another myth I want to bust here. This is myth number 4, and then we look at our bonus breakouts here. We got 600 likes already, which is pretty decent for 2,500 people. I like to think, I don't know, it's about as popular as, you know, neutering boy cats, I imagine. So, if you think everyone's already invested, well, I have news for you. And the news is that there are almost $7 trillion, trillion with a T, and is sitting in cash, money market funds. And that money is going to go where? Well, it's going to go back into the market. Why? Because it sucks getting 4% when the market's up 30%, right? Doesn't seem like such a wise idea now, does it? So the money is going to get FOMO and it's going to flow into the market. And the lower that interest rates go, and I believe they're going to get cut again next Wednesday, that's my prediction. Fox Gaming is doing a great job in drumming up the likes here. I appreciate you, my friend, very much. Seriously, it helps tremendously. It tells the algorithm, yeah, this is good content. Let's show it to someone else. And then if they hit the like button, they show it to somebody else. That's sort of the way it works. But yeah, lower rates means money market funds, cash is going to suck. And the money's going to start to flow back into stocks. That's $7 trillion. Think about that. That's a lot. That's like 2 apples. So, you know, the innovation giant that's going to come out with a slightly better camera next year. So that's very, very important. So beyond that, we've got dark black space. Why? Because I want to show you some breakouts. So if you go into tradevision.io, and there is a free trial on that, my friends, for a week, you can just test it out. And then there's a 60% off offer, which is tremendous. We are also adding into the trade tracker I believe E-Trade is going to come within a day or so, which will be super cool. So far we've got Robinhood in there, Fidelity in there, we've got Interactive Brokers in there, Schwab and Thinkorswim to be able to track. And it means I no longer have to log into stuff. I just look in here and I see what our trades are doing here. Like SoFi is up 244%, which of course I absolutely love. This is a teaching portfolio. And then Tesla is up. This is real money, of course, $24,000, 157%. It's not bad, is it? So it's a 30K portfolio. So what are we looking at? We're looking at the breakouts here from Google. And if you watched me yesterday, we touched upon it. Quantum computing, huge leap there from Google forward. It's so much faster than anything else we've seen. It's going to be tremendous. And whoever leads that is going to make so much freaking money, you won't believe it. Timing from Merrill, all in good time. But yeah, we're doing it. Mort says, I've been recommending Trade Vision to my friends as it's rocked my world. I love that. You know, we have an affiliate scheme, right? You can you actually get paid for every single person you recommend. You basically get a month free, but we actually pay you out. And Tasty's also going to come, absolutely. And all right, so here Google is definitely a breakout, in my humble opinion. Adobe also looking pretty good. Still a little bit overhead here, but it's improving. What else have we got? McCormick, I saw that yesterday, which actually is a stock that I love. It's a big improvement. Still a little bit below what I would call a career one here. Walgreens, that looks like a real breakout. Do you remember Walgreens, a stock that was trading at $70, and now it is just sort of a practicing ground for teenage looters. That seems to be what Walgreens has become. But look at this. It has cranked out above the sort of moribund sideways action we've had here. And that's quite impressive. So definitely something to watch is Walgreens, the falling knife of falling knives. Is that the breakout? Well, keep an eye on it. So there are a couple that we want to look at. And then, of course, let's look at some of our favorites here this morning. Palantir, nicely up at 72.83 here today. Basically back to its trend. That blue line here is my trend. So we want to be on that or above it. You can break slightly below these as we did here and then bounce up above it. We're in the middle of the support resistance line here, but the news, I think, on Palantir just keeps getting better and better. I'm excited for January to see what the government's going to do with it. Fox Gaming, my friend, you're also encouraging people to subscribe. I want to give you a big kiss, my friend. That's fantastic. I really appreciate that. And yeah, seriously, I think something like 8,000 of you subscribed in the last week, which is extraordinary. So hopefully we're delivering some value here. When I say we, of course, it is my chief financial analyst who does all the hard thinking around here. This one, who's wearing a little winter outfit and purring gently. And this says, what does it say on the back? It says the dog face. It's obviously made for chihuahuas, and she's about chihuahua size, this one. So did the URL change for Trade Vision? I know they were doing some update there. We had some security certificate got expired or something. So it should be coming back in a give it a few minutes. It should be back. I know the guys were doing it. Let's have a look at SoFi, Nvidia, Tesla, and any other major stocks you wanna look at here. Who do you think is making all these mysterious eVTOLs? Good question. Good question. We put out a video, I think, yesterday, on US drone company, I believe. That could be it. It's usually the military. When stuff's flying around and no one's telling you what it is, it's usually the US military, which makes sense because everything needs to be autonomous, right? So they should be everywhere. SoFi trading at 1548, just sort of limping sideways, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about it. I know it gave us an exit signal here. That is a very cautious risk management approach. And that's the way I would look at these. We want to be cautious because I know some people follow this to the letter. Obviously, I tell you, you got to learn risk management and you got to learn the rules for breakouts and so on. But it's basically been a continuous buy here since the $9 and a bit, which is why we are up as we're up, 244% on SoFi right now, because look, this is where we bought 19th of September there, which was a nice one. So that's SoFi. Let's have a look at Tesla, which I think is up quite nicely pre-market here. And yeah, look at that. Tesla trading at the very top end of yesterday's trading range and significantly above the resistance at $400, so $8.75 above it. That's significant. Now, yesterday we tried that, and I imagine, and I haven't looked at it yet, but I imagine the market makers, the bastards, oh, you couldn't see that. I'll show you again. I'm looking at a minute chart here. Thanks for the screen heads up there. If we're allowed to look at a minute chart, we shall. Are we allowed? Yeah, here we go. So let's just have a quick look at yesterday. This is quite a useful little thing to do. See what's actually happening out there during the day. So what happened? Beginning of the day, we rallied up. We broke through the $400 resistance. And above $400, what happens? The market makers have to sell. They haven't really got a choice. It's the way they're set up. So lots of volume, we sell. Volume declines as we decline, and then sort of seemed to have kicked off some sort of momentum trading algorithm here where everybody sells. And we went all the way back down to 380. And that should have triggered some institutional buying here. There's a little bit here. There's a little bit there. There's a little bit here. That should have been buying. That sort of got us back up there. And then towards the end of the day, we rallied quite nicely up above the support here again. Again, institutional buying down here. That's what a lot of volume means. And right now, right here, right now, is if you get that musical reference, put it in the chat. Then here we are. What's going on here? What's going on? Let's zoom out a bit. What did I do? We need a reset button, don't we, for this? Do we have a reset button? Is there some sort of a double click or something? Oh, yeah, there's a double click. Oh, I didn't know that. Brilliant. So we're trading at $409 now, which is absolutely fantastic. So at the top end of what we were yesterday. Now, we started yesterday like that too, so, don't get your hopes up too much. But I just think the news coming out of Tesla is just amazing. The China numbers just came out as well. They're also amazing. So Stan Cartman, there's at least 2 different songs. Oh, okay. Which one am I thinking about? Fatboy Slim, that's the one I was thinking about, exactly. What was the other stock we wanted to look at? There's a little green thing called NVIDIA that we want to see. We can also have a quick look here. Pre-market looking pretty sweet, right? Pre-market looking very, very good. Why? Inflation coming in exactly as we expected, which is tremendous. I would also expect oil, sort of energy and mineral stocks to have a very, very good day. The El Presidente, the orange one, the one who's about to be El Presidente, not the one, the geriatric who's napping in a chair right now. Donald is tweeted that anybody who invests over $1 billion in the US will be able to get tax write-offs on that. And that, of course, applies to miners and oil giants, which could be really, really, really profitable for them. So that could be a really, really good one. But yeah, just looking absolutely brilliantly green. AVGO is also up to 4.3% here pre-market. So let's have a look at that. Well, NVIDIA is just it's going sideways. It's okay. We've been at these levels now for a little while. We're in the middle of our support resistance zone, so nothing too exciting going on over there. Broadcom on the other end. And every time I make a video mentioning Broadcom, I feel the audience goes to sleep. Because it doesn't sound that sexy, does it? It's Broadcom. It's boring, but it's a pretty tremendous business. So what are we doing? We're hitting the 180 here again, which is what? It's the resistance. Exactly. So what happens when you hit the resistance? Well, we tried it twice the last couple of trading days, and we didn't quite make it. So watch out whether we're going to make it. And then you also have the sort of trend line here from these previous highs. So what we really need to do is we need to exceed the previous high, go up to about 186, 187 to turn this into a bullish setup here. Okay, I'm gonna give some people here the power to sort of put people in mute. I think we should do that as these live streams get bigger and bigger. We'll we'll give a few people the power to kind of mute people and stuff, and be a little mini dictator, grow a little moustache, shave the sides, that sort of thing, which is what happens when you join a German channel like this one. Now that we've offended half the world, what other stock shall we look at? I feel like we've missed something. I feel that we've missed PayPal. I feel like we haven't looked at that in a little while. How's our trade going on PayPal? It's up 42%, which is a little disappointing, but I have a longer term vision on this one. I think we'll be in this probably until middle of next year. That's sort of the way I look at that, maybe even a little bit longer, because actually it's a thing of beauty. This trend is here very nice. We're just sort of limping a bit, and you need to have some patience sometimes. Typical German, exactly. They all like that, aren't they? The Brits, whenever you mention anything about Germany, if you ever know someone who's British, you know what they think about. The only thing that's going on in that head is Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. That's the only thing that they hear. No matter what comes out of your mouth, that's all they say. So let's blitz the resistance. Blitz is also another word that Brits love about Germans. Marx's FOA, which is a little stock we're in, which is up tremendously, right? In the next version of our trade tracker, you're going to be able to import multiple portfolios. That'll be really cool, right? So you're going to have all your brokers together in one place, which I'm very much looking forward to. Look at that, it's trading at $22.50. Guess where we bought this? We bought this here at $9.25. Why? Very simple. It was a classic case of a breakout, and I went in quite big on this one because it really was a beauty of a breakout, and then not a lot happened for a little while, and then boom, we went from $9.20 to now $22.50 and rising. And of course, it's a risk-free trade, right? We have a stop loss somewhere in here. We're definitely making money, which is absolutely brilliant. We're thinking of currywurst. Indeed. Okay. You're probably still thinking about the guy with the funny thing. John Cleese's German walk. Yeah, you gotta love John Cleese. Someone here defending the Germans. I'm not sure about they've given far more than the world than they have taken. I mean, they seem to have taken Europe. Would you integrate Trade Republic into Trade Vision, Matteo? Yeah, for sure. Like, we plan to add every single broker under the sun. We're just doing them in order of popularity at present. So it's coming. It's coming. Guilty as charged. Yeah, you see, I knew some of you Brits on here. What are we missing? How did you find FOA? Breakout. Just breakout. I've got a scanner. Like, we teach it, obviously. And it just hit absolutely everything there was. The finance sector was just starting to grow up really, really nicely at this long sideways action. Literally, watch the masterclass down below and you know exactly how I found this. And you'd be looking at this going, oh, that was bloody obvious. I wish I would have bought this. And you'd be finding these every single day, which is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so some German lovers in here. Now when I hear Germany, I remember, Habibi, come to Germany. I know the German politics are about as idiotic as the American ones. Exciting day for Tesla. Winston's fantastic. Palantir is being missed. Don't stop liking the stream. We've got 1,000 likes here now, which is absolutely brilliant. So let me do a quick recap. We look at the live market, which kicks off in just 1 minute, and then I'll take you through some more of your favorite stocks. So what's the recap here? My mission, my goal, my vision was to give you this. Explain what the inflation data means for you and for today and for the rest of the year and for going into 2025. And then bust the 4 biggest myths of the stock market right now so you're the best informed investor out there. And the number 1 is, of course, here, core inflation. And inflation came in exactly as expected. So consensus was 0.3. We got 0.3. And that's brilliant. It means we are going to get the rate cut next week. It means the market's happy as Larry and everything is going to keep going up exactly the way we want. And then we got some myths here. So everyone who keeps saying to you, oh, the market can't go up. But first of all, when I say to people, guys, the market goes up 10% on average. In fact, the last 30 years, it's gone up 12% on average. People say, no, it's not true. It goes up 8%. No, it's not. 1928 to 2023, it's gone up 9.8% on average. And there were some pretty hairy moments in that time period, you know, world wars and, you know, all sorts of nonsense. And then people think, well, we've did 20, 30% this year. That never happens. Well, actually, it's the second most common occurrence in the stock market, right? This column here are all the years: 2023, 2021, 2017, 2009, 2003, 1999, 1998, 1996, 1983, 1982. And, you know, you get the idea, right? And in fact, we also go up 30 to 40%. Quite a lot of the time, like really quite a lot of the time. So what's happening right now isn't unusual. Just isn't. It's actually just completely normal. It's just to be expected. And then people are saying, oh, all these tech companies, they're valued like mad. It can't go any higher. Well, guess what? The NASDAQ 100 is getting rebalanced. Announcements coming out on Friday. Is it Friday, the 13th? Yeah, it's Friday. My brother's birthday. And lucky guy. And Palantir is going to get added. MicroStrategy is going to get added. So what do you think is going to happen to these stocks? Money, 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 money is going to flow into them, right? Because the ETFs, the index funds, the QQQs, what do they have to do? They have to buy those stocks. They have no choice. They're index trackers, whatever is in the index, they have to buy. So think about that, right? More money, more institutional money. And that makes you also hopefully realize that there are good stocks and there are bad stocks, right? There is the Palantir, there's the MicroStrategy, and then there is the Moderna, the evil Knievel of the world, or, you know, SMCI, people who can't file their accounts on time. And you want to avoid those stocks. So how do you do that? Well, you start by learning how to pick the good ones. That's really the way you start to learn. And if you want to actually genuinely learn that, which requires about 30 minutes of your time to sit down and learn it, and then to actually apply it and use that information, then what would it do? Well, it'll change your life. Very simple. Now, are you going to do it? Well, I think the fact that you're here and you're listening to me drivel on about, you know, fairly technical market stuff means you have a deeper desire to actually understand the market. And you actually want to make your, you know, your money work for you here, little gold coin here. And what do you need to do? Leave the stream right now. Go away and watch the masterclass. That's what I'd say to you. That'd be the best thing you could do with your time today. Much, much more productive, actually, than listening to the rest of this. Because news is important, but it's not as important as the skill to know what to do with it. So you need to have the skill first, and then you can stay on top of the market and abreast with it. You can join me here every day if you like, which I'd be delighted about. So Okta liked the video. Manfred, appreciate that. Thank you very much. An interesting one. Valuations in the chart not looking brilliant right now, but I think it's definitely an interesting one to watch. So myth number 3, the market is too hot. It can't possibly go any higher. My friend, we're at neutral on the fear and greed index, the only useful thing that CNN has ever produced. And the possibility is therefore for us to go into greed or into extreme greed, which would mean we would go a lot higher in the market. Right? So again, we're in the middle of neutrality, in the lower end of neutrality, actually, which is pretty good. And then you hear people talking about, well, everyone's already invested, everyone's got their money, how could it possibly go higher? Where should the money be coming from, right? Well, there's $7 trillion sitting in cash. $7 trillion, which is worth about 30% less now than it was at the beginning of the year. How do you figure that? Well, the S&P is up 30%, and this $7 trillion probably earned, what, 4.5% interest? So those guys are down 25.5%. They're 25.5% poorer than the people who were in stocks. Now, I'm up about 200% this year, so you could also argue that those people are about 200% poorer because they didn't pick good stocks. And that's the real risk of not being invested in the right place. It's the money you are losing. It's the people who know this who are getting richer, who are making the house you want to buy more expensive, who are making the holiday you want to have more expensive, right? Have you noticed that good hotel rooms have about 10x'd in price in the last, I'd say, 10 years? Wherever I go, I pretty much have to pay $1,000 plus for a hotel room. And okay, I stay in nice hotel rooms, but those used to cost me $100, seriously. And it's just, there are lots of people who are doing this and not the 4.5%. And that's, I think, people often say, oh, it's the safest thing is to put your money into a money market fund and earn 4.5%. It's probably, in my opinion, it's the riskiest thing you could possibly do, because you'll definitely be poorer than everybody else out there. So think about that for a moment and check out the masterclass down below. And then we looked at a couple of breakouts here. Google looking particularly good. I think that'll probably be the one to highlight today. And Adobe, so. I think Walgreens definitely one to watch here as well. If you zoom in on that one here, that's a pretty nice action there. But overall, Tesla having a very nice pre-market. And we'll have a look at the live market as well here on Tesla. Finance stocks clearly going up more, which is brilliant, making us boatloads of money. Can we trust CNN? Definitely not. No, absolutely not. But the fear and trust thing is an algorithm, so there is no kind of human interaction in that, which I think is why it's a half decent measure. Tesla, if we're allowed to zoom in a little bit on this, trading at almost the top end of yesterday's trading range at $407. A close above the 400 resistance would be fantastic, right? At 400, market makers sell. So if we can overpower the market makers, wrestle them to the floor, gently punch them in the face until they stop selling our favorite stock, then this is not an endorsement of real physical violence. I'm talking about buy orders, overpowering the sell orders. If we close above 400, that would be very, very good news. Paige says, agreed. I've had hundreds sit in stagnant ETFs for the last 3 months. Yeah, and it's just money not well allocated, right? And this whole buy and hold forever thing. If you own really good stocks, like high quality stocks, it gives you a decent return. It does. It'll get you wealthy over 20 years. But if you're just in an index fund, I mean, what's an index fund? 500 stocks? How many of them are good? 30? Maybe, right? 470 are like shitty stocks. So you really got to think about that. Now, if you're starting out on your investment journey, don't be discouraged. Buy the index funds, because being invested is tremendously better than being in cash. Cash, you get zero, right? In an index fund this year, you would have made 30%. So the cash is 30% worse than the index fund. So it's a fantastic place to start. But then you might want to start thinking about, can we not pull this a little higher? And I think that's really what this is all about. So resistance, indeed. Do wash sales apply to where you trade in Hong Kong? So I don't pay tax on capital gains or on trading profits or dividends or any of that. And why is that? Well, I choose to live in a jurisdiction where we don't have those taxes, right? Now, I live in the United States of America. It's a little hard to shake your tax laws, although Donald, the orange one, is promising to get rid of worldwide tax, which might mean that all these Americans will go everywhere. They'll be crawling all over the Caribbean and in the south of France and all these places before you know it. And you'll hear them. You'll hear them coming. But that could be a great opportunity, of course. Otherwise, yeah, you got to comply with your tax laws. That's just the way it is. But you know what? Tax shouldn't really impact your trading very much. You just got to set it up in the most tax efficient way possible. So if you're an American, a Roth IRA, for example, is a wonderful place to trade. But it doesn't actually make a trade good or bad. It just makes your whole thing slightly more or slightly less profitable. That's really what it's all about. Are you French, says Gerard? No, I'm German. Much worse. Much worse. Austrian. Yeah, there. You're not far off there. Some of my grandmother was Austrian. My grandfather was also not far from there. Where do you think Google will run to? Quantum leaps are possible, I would say. Quantum leaps are possible. Palantir is falling. Yeah, it's a volatile stock. I wouldn't be surprised. And you want to have stops on these. And anything, actually, I'd argue, I want to have a stop loss, because it's so emotionally hard to exit when it drops below your, comfort zone. And as the chart here is loading, it doesn't want to show you what's happening at Palantir because it doesn't want to spoil your morning. Well, it's $69. So yeah, I would argue some partial profit taking would be a good place, because things can drop a lot, and then I'd set a stop loss a little bit lower somewhere, and that would be where I would get out. And then guess what? I'd get in again when the going gets good again. And that could be tomorrow, that could be in a week, it could be in a month. Who knows, right? Now, I'm very bullish on Palantir, but it's a stock that's run up from single digits to $80 in a very, very short period of time. I should be a stand-up comedian, or I think I'd be dreadful at that. But I don't know how people do it, to be honest. Stand there and just be sort of naked with a microphone and go, I'm going to make you laugh. Very, very hard job that I don't think I want. Actually, I met a stand-up comedian the other day in a hotel lounge. She was a very nice lady, quite funny, I must say. But yeah, it seems like a stressful job to me. So we are 430 subscribers away from 209,000, says Fox Gaming, my new favorite person in the world. Thank you for that, my friend. So on that note, we're gonna round up here. I appreciate you tuning in. If you're only going to do one thing today, is check out the Trade Vision trial while we still have that crazy 60% off offer, and watch the masterclass in probably in that order. And I hope to see you live tomorrow. I will be live tomorrow, the day after. I'm not sure yet because I'm traveling. I just booked a flight today. It's that's one of the things I enjoy most in life, honestly, is, shall we go on a trip like tomorrow? I'm like, okay, let me book some flights. Book the flights. Let me WhatsApp the travel agent and say, have you got a nice suite at the Four Seasons somewhere? And then they WhatsApp you back, and it's all done. And then you hop on a plane the next day. I was not able to do that before, because before I'd have to fill in a form, ask my boss, ask HR, and everybody would sort of grumble at you, right? Because they think they own you. Because really, when you have a job, you're a wage slave, right? You don't really have control over your time, and then you have to count the days of the year you're allowed to have control of your time, which is just staggeringly horrible. Honestly, could make me cry. Did actually. So I enjoy my freedom, and I hope you will too. And I hope I can help to get more of you to freedom. We're already helping a lot of people, and I want to make that a lot more. So I appreciate all the interaction, the shares, the likes, the subscribes. Every time you do that, every time you post one of our videos on X or your social media platform and so on, you spread it and you tell the algorithm this stuff's worth watching, and more people will get suggested, and we'll reach more and more people, and we're going to have a lot more fun, and we're going to have a much, much bigger impact, which is really what this is all about. So to Lula and I say thank you very much. We're going to go and play with the kittens now. The little kitten we have, and I'll post some more videos of her. When she sees this one, she runs towards her and like nudges into her tummy. It's really, really sweet. So that's what we're going to do now. Thank you for